1973 through 1997, an Italian priest named Father Stefano Gobbi said that he received locutions from the Blessed Mother. In these messages, she spoke of our times and reiterated the requests she made at Fatima. Although her messages are for everyone, in these messages, she particularly asks priests for greater holiness and to be more active in promoting consecration to her Immaculate Heart. Father Gobbi's spiritual director urged him to write down the messages that came to him. In due time, they were published with multiple imprimaturs as thousands of priests, bishops, and cardinals eagerly asked for translations in many languages. This recording is not professional and not for profit. Volunteer readers have undertaken to make these available as audio podcasts. You may purchase the book To the Priests, Our Lady's Beloved Sons at mmp-usa.net. Presented here are the messages from 1973, beginning July 7th to December 31st.
1973. The movement is now born. I will always be near you. July 7, 1973. Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary. Renew your consecration to my Immaculate Heart. You are mine. You belong to me. At every moment you must be just as I would have you be. At every moment you must do just what I would have you do. Do not be afraid. I will always be near you. I am now preparing you for great things. Little by little, as a mother does her child. The movement is now born. July 8, 1973. Look at neither the newspaper nor television. Remain ever close to my heart in prayer. Nothing else should be of interest or importance to you save living with me and for me. The Marian movement of priests is now born, but it is so frail and small that in order to grow, it has need of much prayer. You must live only for this. You must find relish and consolation in nothing else. Your mission is now taking shape. July 9, 1973. Today I am really happy to be with you. You have remained close to my heart. You see now how all things of this world appear remote and hazy to you. Now everything worries and bores you, everything else that is not I, your mother, who wants you whole and entire at every moment with her. Learn to let yourself be possessed by me, so that in everything you do, it will be I who am doing it through you. It is so necessary now that it be the mother who acts. I want to act through you. You will have to suffer more, but courage! I will always be with you, and you will delight as no one else in the sweetness of my mother's heart. 4. The reason for my tears. Ravenna, July 13, 1973. How pleased I have been with your homage this morning. You have come to Ravenna before my image, which shed tears, and you have wished to celebrate Mass in order to console my Immaculate Heart. How pleased I have been with your thoughtfulness, so filial, so affectionate, so delicate. Yes, you have truly consoled me. You have changed my tears into a smile, my sorrow into joy. I have smiled on you. I have blessed you. The reason for my tears, for a mother's tears, is my children, who in great number live unmindful of God, immersed in the pleasures of the flesh, and are hastening irreparably to their perdition. For many of these my tears have fallen in the midst of indifference and have fallen in vain. Above all, the causes of my weeping is for the priest, those beloved sons, the apple of my eye, those consecrated sons of mine. Do you see how they no longer love me? How they no longer want me? Do you see how they no longer listen to the words of my Son? How they frequently betray him? How Jesus present in the Eucharist is ignored by many, let alone in the tabernacle, often sacrilegiously offended by them, with wanton negligence. You have offered me the Marian movements of priests. I receive it in my heart, and I bless it. These will always be my priests. Consecrated to me, they will do whatever I command them. The time is near when I will make my voice heard by them, and when I will place myself at the head of this, my cohort prepared for battle. For the present they must be formed in great humility and at my direction, loving and totally united with the Pope in the Church, living and preaching only the gospel. This is so necessary today. I love them. I bless them one by one. 5. I will be your leader. July 16, 1973, Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. You ask me why I have chosen you to spread my movement, while you feel so inadequate and helpless. Rightly do you see your nothingness and your weakness, and you ask me, why do you not choose someone more suitable and capable than me? How can you rely on me when you know very well my past infidelities? My son, I have chosen you because you are the least apt instrument. Thus, no one will say that this is your work. The Marian movement of priests must be my work alone. Through your weakness, I will manifest my strength. Through your nothingness, I will manifest my power. I myself will be the leader of this army. I am now forming it as my own in silence and in hiddenness, just as for rune months I formed Jesus in my womb, and for many years in silence and hiddenness I brought him up day by day. This is the way it is now for the Marian movement of priests. Like the little Jesus, I am forming it in silence and in hiddenness. This is the time of its infancy and its hidden life. What is needed now is much silence and humility, much confidence and prayer. I myself am now choosing the priests of the movement and forming them according to the plan of my Immaculate Heart. They will come from everywhere, from the diocesan clergy, from the religious orders, and from the various institutes. They will make up the cohorts of my priests, which I myself will nourish and form, preparing them for the approaching battle for the kingdom of God. Let there be no leader among you. I myself will be your leader. You must all be brothers, loving, understanding, and helping each other. The only thing that matters is that you let yourself be formed by me, for this is necessary that each one of you offer himself and consecrate himself to my Immaculate Heart, and entrust himself completely to me, just as Jesus entrusted himself totally to me. And then I will take care of everything. I will form you with a great love for the Pope and for the Church, united to him. I will prepare you for a heroic witness to the gospel, for which for some will be even to the shedding of their blood. And when the time comes, the movement will then go out into the open to fight openly that cohort which is the devil, ever my adversary, is now forming for himself from among the priests. Certain decisive hours are drawing close. For the present, allow yourselves to be formed by me. Allow yourself to be guided by me. 6. It is I who will act. July 21, 1973. Why do you become troubled? Why are you worried? To be consecrated to me means to let yourself be led by me. It means to entrust yourself to me like a child who lets itself be led by its mother. You must therefore accustom yourself to a new way of thinking, to a new way of acting. It is not your place to think of what is best for you. Do not make plans or building your tomorrow, for, you see, I upset everything and then you feel bad. Why do you not wish to entrust yourself to me? Let it be I who build, moment by moment, your future. It is enough for you to say, just as a little child, Mother, I trust you. I let myself be led by you. Tell me, what must I do? And also, let it be I who act through you, for how necessary it is for you to die to yourself. For this it is necessary, that you accustom yourself to suffer, to be misunderstood, to be ignored, to be trampled on by a bit. This hurts you quite a bit, doesn't it? But when you speak to the priests of this movement concerning the consecration, tell them how they must entrust themselves totally to me and trust me. Then they will be able to look to your person and to you yourself to be a good example for them. Do not take it too hard, my son. I love you. I love you very much. 7. Only and always a mother. Spadtorno, July 24, 1973. Are you pleased with the house I have prepared for you? You never dreamed that it would be so beautiful. Beneath a cliff, with your room practically in a cleft of the rock, overlooking the sea and the little chapel where Jesus abides nearby, the sun at the side of my dearest son. You have no idea of this yet. For a great while I have been preparing it for you. When you were working with me, enduring the heat and fatigue, you would say, "How happy I am to have spent the whole evening working for Our Lady." And at that same time I was thinking of you and preparing a place for your days of rest. And I have brought you to this place, which is so dear to me. There is also X who loves me dearly, and there are the little children for whom I have a special love, and to me you are just one of them. Learn to see me always and at every moment as she who is truly for all a mother, only and always a mother. 8. Watch and pray. July 28, 1973. These priests, sons of mine, who have betrayed the gospel in order to second the great satanic error of Marxism. It is especially because of them that the chastisement of communism will soon come and will deprive everyone of all they possess. Times of great tribulation will unfold. Then it will be these poor souls of mine who will begin the great apostasy. Watch and pray, all of you, priests who are faithful to me. 9. The heart of my priests. July 29, 1973. Be ever in my heart, and at each moment you will find peace. Do not worry about what you are to do. One who has consecrated himself to me belongs totally to me. He cannot, at any moment of the day, decide freely what he is to do with himself. If you remain with me, I myself will tell you at every moment what I would like you to do, and then whatever you do will always be according to my will. I myself will take you by the hand, and together we shall do everything. With you, I am like a mother who is teaching its child to take its first steps. Now that I have snatched you definitely away from my enemy, you are now taking the first steps along the road of love. How necessary it is that I stay with you. I am so very much a mother for you. I am very jealous of you, just as I am a good but jealous mother of all the priests of my movement. They must understand that to belong to the movement, nothing external nor any juridical act is necessary. What is indispensable, however, is an interior consecration of their whole selves and the total offering of their priesthood to my Immaculate Heart. Tell them that this is all I ask of them. This is all I want of them. Tell them that this is the first and most important thing that they must do to belong to my priestly movement. Tell them to entrust themselves to me like children, giving everything to me and renouncing all attachment to anything, however beautiful, honorable, or virtuous. That is not my very self. I want their heart, the heart of my priests. Oh, then I will be able to be a true mother to them, and they will be a true sons to me. I will take complete possession of their life. Gently, gently, I will transform it and set it on fire with zeal. I will wipe from it whatever has been imperfect, and I will make it perfect. I will make them understand how they must be detached from everything and live only for my Jesus, how they must defend him from every attack, love him unconditionally, in living out the gospel to the letter. I will cause them to experience the great love for the Church and for the Pope, whom I love so dearly, and who will be comforted, defended, and saved by the cohort of my priests. I will prepare them for great things, and I will make them invincible in the decisive battles. Let them entrust themselves completely to me, and they will receive sure signs of my motherly tenderness for them. Message number 10. It will be a new church, August 1st, 1973, Feast of St. Alphonsus Liguori. O my Jesus, give me your heart, because I want to love Our Lady as you have loved her. This is the prayer, my son, which I myself have inspired in you. No one, in fact, has ever loved me as my son Jesus. With what tenderness he surrounded me. He has always been within me. We grew up together in his hidden life and in his public life. We were as one during his passion and his death on the cross, on that tragic Good Friday. The sight of the sorrow of his mother, who assisted him in his atrocious agony, shortened his life more than his physical suffering. His heart of a son could not withstand this unspeakable agony. "Mother!" was his last agonizing cry, the loud cry with which he expired on the cross. At this present time, Jesus is greatly saddened, even angered at seeing how numerous these priests are who have turned away from me in their hearts, who have forgotten me in their lives, and who have blotted me out of the soul of so many of the faithful. Through their fault, devotion to me, always such a living thing in the Church, has now become greatly weakened. In some places it is practically dead. They say that I, the mother, cast a shadow on the glory and honor which is due my son alone. My poor children, how senseless they are, how blind! How the devil has known how to capture them. They have reached such blindness because they have listened neither to Jesus nor to me. They have allowed themselves to be led by themselves alone, by their intelligence, by their pride, and thus they have allowed themselves to be made the sport of Satan, who was the one who succeeded, at last, in obscuring my place in the Church and in obliterating me in souls. I will again have to go about searching out from among priests those who are faithful, those who listen to me, those who love me. Through them I will again shine more resplendently in the Church, after the great purification. The Mother has, from Jesus, the power to bring back home the children who have gone astray. But I have need of humble and courageous priests, ready to let themselves be laughed at, ready to let themselves be trampled on for me. It will be through these priests, humble, laughed at, and trampled on, that I will form the cohorts which will make it possible for me to bring to Jesus an innumerable amount of children, now purified by the great tribulation. And it will be a new church for a new world, where my son Jesus will reign at last. Satan fears only this victory of mine, and this I will obtain by means of you, beloved priests, whom I have gathered together in my movement. Message number 11. The Purpose of Your Life. August 9, 1973. How pleased I am that you are here with Y. You must love each other very much, like two brothers. My two sons, whom I love very much, and whom I give as a gift to one another. You must have great love for one another. You must rejoice and suffer together for the fulfillment of my plans. I have chosen you for the movement of my priests. You must live for this. You must pray, work, suffer. You must become holy. This is the wonderful purpose, my son, that I am giving for your life. How I love you, how tenderly I look out for you, how I bless you from my heart. Message number 12. Close to my heart in prayer. August 21, 1973. Feast of St. Pius X. Why do you not write down everything that I have made known to your heart? You tell me that these things are too intimate, too beautiful, but someday it must be known how much I have loved you and what great things I have worked in you. And this is only because I have offered you nothingness totally to my heart. Accustom yourself to being trampled on, for being put aside, for being neither understood nor esteemed. It is necessary that this happen to you. And when you feel an interior rebellion within yourself which causes you to say to yourself, "Why, this is not right. I must claim my rights," answer immediately, "Get behind me, Satan. Will I not drink the chalice which the Father has prepared for me? I am pressed for time. The decisive moments are drawing to a close. You must complete as quickly as possible the work which I have entrusted to you. The movement of my priests, I myself will come to the aid of your great weakness. But as for you, remain at every instant close to my heart in prayer. Let me work ever more and more within you." Message number 13. The Great Goal of Sanctity. August 24, 1973. Your life is so precious, son, that you must not waste even for an instant. Therefore, train yourself to remain in me, in my heart, and always to act with me, to think with my mind, to see things with my eyes, to touch them with my hands, and to love them with my heart. There are moments when you are particularly aware of this, and this is when you are in prayer with me. It is then that you feel that you are truly a child upon the heart of its mother, and thus your soul takes these moments of paradise, which I reserve jealously for my beloved sons. When you come from prayer, it seems that everything else becomes tiresome and boring. This is another gift which I am giving to you. Even when you are not at prayer, you must always be in the attitude of prayer, and you truly are if you live habitually in me. So then, even when you are talking or amusing yourself or taking a trip, you must always remain in me, because you do everything with me. I want all the priests of the Marian movement of priests to be like this. They must be my priests. I say it again, mine. From the time that they are consecrated to my Immaculate Heart, they can no longer belong to themselves. Their life, their soul, their mind, their heart, the good they do, even the wrong that they have done, and the defects they possess, all is mine, all belongs to me. My Immaculate Heart is a furnace of most pure fire. It burns all, it consumes all, it transforms all. Because these priests are mine, they must become accustomed to letting themselves be guided by me, with simplicity, with abandonment. My heart is leading them, as a mother, to the great goal of sanctity. I want them to be fervent. I want them to be in love with my Son Jesus. I want them ever faithful to the gospel. They must be docile in my hands for the sake of the great plan of mercy, and through them I will save an immense number of souls. They will be my joy, the most beautiful crown of my immaculate and sorrowful heart, which still wants to be the means of salvation to the Church and for humanity. Message 14. Night has fallen upon the world. August 28, 1973. Feast of St. Augustine. Night has now fallen upon the world, my son. This is the time of darkness, Satan's hour. This is the time of his greatest triumph. How I have accepted with great appreciation your prayer and your suffering offered in reparation for the great outrage, the most horrible blasphemy that has been directed against my son. Neither during his public life nor during his trial and the horrible carrying out of its sentence was my son ever so denigrated. Even before the Sanhedrin, no accusers were found. So limpid and pure his whole life had been. But now they are attempting to attack his purity. They are spreading such a horrible and satanic blasphemy that all heaven is, as it were, dismayed and incredulous. How is it possible that they have reached such a point? What a tremendous and now inevitable storm is about to break upon our poor humanity. The Pope suffers and prays. He is on a cross which is consuming and killing him. This time he has again spoken, but his voice falls on a desert. My church has become more barren than a desert. You priest, whom I am now gathering into my movement to check this advance of Satan, you must, with the Pope, form a strong barrier. You must propagate his word. You must defend him, because he will have to carry the cross in the midst of the greatest storm in history. Yours is the duty to defend, with your life, with your words, and with your blood, the honor of my Son, which is being trampled upon. Yours is the duty to judge and to condemn the world, because more than ever this is in the power of the evil one. Yours is the duty to judge and condemn the world, because more than ever this world is in the power of the evil one. Respond to my pressing appeal, O priest, consecrated to me. Be generous. I have need of you because of the decisive times have now arrived. Message number 15, for all my priest sons. August 29, 1973. Whatever I communicate to you, my son, does not belong to you alone, but it is for all my priest sons, with whom I love with predilection. Above all, it is for the priests of the Marian movement of priests, whom I love most tenderly, and whom I want to form and lead by the hand, to prepare them for their great mission. Therefore, gather together in a booklet whatever I have told you. You are not to concern yourself in any way with all that has respect to its printing. Your confessor will provide for everything. And this booklet is to be disseminated as quickly as possible among priests. It will be the means through which I will bring them together from all sides, and from which I will form my invincible army. Remain ever in my heart, and trust in me, O my son. Message number 16. The mother must be loved and lived. September 19, 1973. Feast of Our Lady of La Salette. Remain in my heart, my son, and do not think at all of what you are to say today. I myself will speak through you to these children of mine. I will tell them all that my heart desires, and I will help them to emerge from their great aridity and weariness. My poor children, they have to stand all day long and listen to long and complicated discourses concerning me, and these serve only to dry up the heart, to weary the mind, and to take away from the soul every impulse of filial affection for me. Your mother is not to be studied. She is to be loved and lived. How little prayer is made! Holy Mass in the morning, a quick rosary in the evening, and nothing else. And all day long, chattering and more chattering. I will tell them through you that to honor me, one must pray more and chatter less. I want the hearts and the souls of my sons. I want to fill them with love for me, to stir up there the fire of enthusiasm, to throw open their souls that they may receive many graces. I am a mother, and I am rewarding their coming here with extraordinary graces, and the most beautiful of those is that today everyone will be set afire with great love for me. And this will happen by means of your word, O Son. Speak to them about my priestly movement. There are among those present here some good priests who I have brought here for this purpose. These priests are beautiful souls who I have been preparing for some time to enter into my movement. They are awaiting this call as the parched land awaits a drop of dew. They will welcome my invitation and join my movement. The times are drawing close, son, and I am in a hurry. This is why I want you here, in this gathering. For this you must offer fatigue and suffering. And then, too, you must not halt. Theological discussions are not made for you. Leave tomorrow for X, where you will spend a few days in continuous prayer, in penance and in union with me, as a preparation for the first meeting of the Marian movement of priests. Message 17. These are my priests. San Vittorino, September 23, 1973. You are now at the end of these days of prayer and of union with me. How many graces I have given you, and how I have led you into the depths of my Immaculate Heart. How you have experienced my Son, a mother's sweetness. However, it is not for you alone. It is also for your brothers in my movement, who will come here tomorrow for the first gathering. I will speak to them through you, and I will tell them how much I love them. Their consecration to me will be the means which will allow them to enter ever more deeply into the love of my Immaculate Heart, and I will cause them to experience a sweetness which only a mother can bring her own children to experience. Those who will come have for some time been called, chosen and prepared by me. They will quickly feel at home, and amongst themselves it will seem as though they have always known and loved each other. The secret scheme, which in a hidden way I have been preparing for some time in order to realize my great plan, is now beginning to become visible. The movement of my priests, my cohort ready for the decisive battle, and destined for victory. What must they now do, these sons of mine, who have been formed and called by me, and who for the first time find themselves gathered together? They must prepare themselves. They must be ready to obey my orders, because I will soon call them, and they must be ready to respond, ready to be used by me for the ultimate defense of my Son, of me, and of the Gospels, and of the Church. They will be the salt in the world which is completely corrupted, and a shining light in the darkness which will have enveloped everything. To fight, because my adversary will set loose his army upon them. He will pursue them with venom in a frightful battle. They will be ridiculed, despised, persecuted, and some will even be killed. But I will always be with them, and will protect and defend them, and will console them, wiping away every tear as only a mother knows how. To defend the Pope, who is already so very much alone in carrying out the cross of the Church, there will even be a time at which, like Jesus on the way to Calvary, he will be as though abandoned by everyone. Then these sons of mine will be his comfort and his defense, and together with me they will be victorious in the greatest battle of the Church. For the present, my beloved sons, pray, love one another, be as little children, let yourselves be formed and guided by me alone. Now at last I can count upon priests who are truly mine, docile to my commands, sensitive to my desires. Oh yes, these are my priests. After so many sufferings, this is truly the greatest joy that my Immaculate Heart can experience. For this reason, upon each and every one of you my blessing, my comfort, and my motherly affection. Message number 18. I will do everything for you. September 24, 1973. Feast of Our Lady of Ransom. At the end of these spiritual exercises which you have made with me, let this be your resolution. Remain always, at every moment, in my Immaculate Heart in prayer, so as to be my joy, to console me for so many sorrows caused by the sins that every day are multiplied in the world. Be afraid of nothing. Do not be worried about anything. I will do everything for you and with you, because I love you with a greater love than you can ever imagine. Offer me the most beautiful fruit, the Marian movement of priests. I accept it, I bless it, I guard it jealously. Do not be worried about the first meeting tomorrow. I will arrange everything. The priests whom I want here are already on their way, and the meeting will be a wonderful occasion for all, and I will give so very much joy to each one. My priests will receive a special grace which will transform their whole lives. Message number 19. Foolishness to confound wisdom. Milan, September 27, 1973. Feast of St. Vincent de Paul. You have not understood, my son, that I have chosen foolishness to confound wisdom, and weakness to vanish strength, that this little book be distributed just as it is. It will be the means through which I call many priests into my movement, and form for myself my invisible cohort. Your weak faith and your lack of confidence in me grieve me, my son. What is it you dread? Whom are you afraid of? Pray and abandon yourself to me. Let it be really I alone who act. Message number 20. A way of acting different from yours. October 13, 1973. Anniversary of the final apparition of Fatima. Do not be concerned about the spread of the Marian movement of priests. Let me act. Trust me. Offer me your prayers and suffering for this intention. Do not look at the results. My way of acting and of evaluating is so different from yours. You do not have to be numerous, but you have to be holy, and I will lead you all to great holiness if you all truly entrust yourself completely to me. Message number 21. I want to save them. October 16, 1973. You are now having a time of quiet, and invite you to enter into the intimacy of my Immaculate Heart to see what an abyss of love and of sorrow it contains. My heart is the heart of a mother, a real living heart of a mother who is real and living for all her children. All men redeemed by my Son are also my children. They are my children in the fullest sense of the word. For even those who are far away, even the sinner, even the atheist, even those who reject God, those who fight against Him and hate Him, they are all my children. I am a mother to them. For many of them, I am the only mother they have, the only person who is taking care of them, who truly loves them. And so my heart is continually consumed with sorrow and with a greater love for these children of mine. I want to help them. I want to save them because I am their mother. Because of this, I suffer for them. I suffer for their sins. I suffer because they are far from God. I suffer because they do wrong. I suffer because of all the harm they are doing to themselves. But how am I to help them? How am I to save them? I have need of much prayer. I have need of much suffering. Only through the prayer and the suffering of my other good and generous children will I be able to save those children of mine. And so there is then the movement of my priests. It is desired by me to make reparation for the immense harm caused in souls by atheism, to restore in so many desecrated hearts the image of God, the merciful countenance of my Son Jesus. My priests are my restorers. They will restore in so many souls the faith of God, and thus they will bring back many of my children from death to life. And it is this way that they will be the true consolers of my sorrowful heart. But mine is also an immaculate heart, that is to say, a motherly heart that has never been tarnished by any shadow, by any sin, limpid as a spring, clear as light. And now it is itself, as it were, submerged in all the mire that has submerged the hearts and souls of so many of my children.
Truly the demon of corruption, the spirit of lust, has seduced all the nations of the world. Not one of them is any longer preserved. This veil of death is spread out over the world, and souls are being defiled, even before they awaken to the knowledge of life. The priests of my movement must restore purity in souls and fight firmly against the demon of lust in all its manifestations. They must combat styles that are more and more indecent and provocative. They must combat the press that publicizes evil and entertainment which ruins morals. They must struggle against the prevalent mentality that legitimizes and justifies everything, and against current morality which permits everything. Above all, my priest will have to be pure, very pure. I myself will cover them with my immaculate mantle, and I will make them new men, priests who are upright and spotless. To those who have fallen, I will give new purity. I will call them to a second and more beautiful innocence of repentance and love. I want it to be the movement of my priests which will bring back the fragrance of purity to the world. For it is only on the billow of this perfume that my Son Jesus will once again become the King of hearts and souls. This, my beloved priest, is what it means to be consecrated to me. It means to live for me. It means to perceive things as I do, to love and suffer with me in preparation for the great moments that are awaiting you. Message number 22. The Light of the Gospel. October 20, 1973. You see how everything wearies you and leaves you with a certain emptiness when you do not do everything with me? And ask yourself, but why does this strange thing happen to me? Are not these perchance the very thing that used to so captivate me and completely absorb me? What has happened to you, my son, is the great and decisive fact of your consecration to me. This act has been taken seriously by me, and it has in itself the capacity of truly changing and transforming your whole life. With the act of consecration, you have put your life in my hands. Now it belongs to me. It is mine. I have taken possession of it, and now, bit by bit, I am transforming it according to my will. Gently I will lead you to that perfection which is pleasing to my heart, and little by little I will transform you into a very faithful image of my Son Jesus. I will give you a new way of seeing things. You will see with my own eyes. Everything that is of this world will no longer be able to interest you. It will even leave within you a profound sadness. You will say of these things, how vain they are, how useless. Yet how many of your brothers let themselves be led and dominated by them? They look on things as the world does. They live for the world, thereby uselessly wasting the gift of their life. I will also give you a new way of feeling. You will feel according to my heart. Thus, your capacity for love and to suffer will become extraordinarily more powerful, because you will feel, my son, as the heart of your mother feels. What grief you will feel for so many who today render vain the redemption of my Son, all those who, through no fault of their own, are straying because they are unsuspecting victims of these errors. What boundless apprehension you will have for so many of your brother priests who, abandoning Jesus and me, are no longer faithful to the gospel. They become propagators of many errors. They feel and judge as the world feels and judges. They have already apostatized in their hearts, but they can still be saved. They can still be saved by me. I will also give you a new way of thinking. You will think according to the heart of Jesus and my motherly heart, seeing everything in God as God sees, according to the spirit of wisdom. I will give you wisdom of heart. Well now, the priests of my movement must be like this. Because they have consecrated themselves to me, they must feel, see, and think as I do, together with me, because I want to take complete possession of their life. I want to transform it and make of it an image of my Son Jesus, the firstborn of so many other sons of mine. They must let themselves be formed by me as little children, with much trust and abandonment. Then, through them, the light of the gospel will shine anew in this world so filled with darkness. This is the task of my priests, to be this light in the great darkness which will be spread over the whole earth, because through them and in them I will be present in the midst of my children, during the great purification, in order to save them in the decisive hours. By means of my priests I will obtain the victory, and there will soon be a new world, entirely renewed by the beauty of my Son and illuminated by his light. Message number 23. Always with the Pope. October 30, 1973. This evening, my son, I want to tell you of the tenderness by which my motherly heart feels for the vicar of my son, the Pope. In these so painful moments of the Church, the Pope finds himself alone, like my son Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, to live through his hours of agony and dereliction. These are for him moments of profound anguish. His heart is, as it were, oppressed with mortal sadness, and a cross of unspeakable suffering marks the hours of his day. As a mother, I am at his side to comfort and sustain him. All the suffering and rebellion in the world leave a deep wound in the heart of the Pope, just as the sins of the world are accumulated in the heart of my son during his atrocious agony. That which causes the heart of the Pope to suffer in this world, which is so far away from God, the denial of God on the part of so many, this wave of rebellion and of filth which is constantly increasing, as though it would inundate everything. That which causes the heart of the Pope to suffer is the solitude and dereliction in which he has been left. My son's deepest and greatest suffering during the hours of his agony was the betrayal by Judas and the desertion of his dearest friends when he had, humanly speaking, most need of them. At the present time the Pope suffers from the betrayal and the desertion of many. Even some of his closest collaborators often disobey him and thwart him. Many priests whom he loves so much oppose him. Many of my sons, victims of Satan, deride and condemn him. How many, even then, call themselves Christians and Catholic, daily criticize, oppose, and judge him. Truly, for my Church, this is the hour of the power of darkness. You, O my son, who are consecrated to me, who desire to be the joy and the comfort of my sorrowful heart, become the powerful interpreter of this profound apprehension of mine, motherly lament. Console the Pope's heart with your filial affliction and with your prayer. Share his suffering. Help him to carry his cross, which is now too heavy for him. This is what I want the priests of my movement to be in the Church. They must be friends, consolers, and defenders of the Pope. Friends, because they will fill his solitude with much love and prayer. They will always stand by him, even at the time when he will be greatly abandoned. They will carry the cross for him, as they did my son. He will have to climb the road to Calvary. Near the Pope on the cross with me, the Mother, I want to find his dearest friends, the priests of my movement, comforters, because they will alleviate his abandonment and his suffering, and will not be afraid to share, as he does, the same fate that today awaits those whom I have prepared for the ultimate sacrifice of the salvation of the world. Defender, because they will always be faithful to him and will combat all those who challenge and culminate him. At Fatima I foretold of these moments which would come upon the Holy Father, but I also promised him my special assistance and my protection. I will defend him and assist him through you, my priests. You must be my cohort, ready to fight for the Church and the Pope. Thus you will remain faithful to the gospel, and through you I will gain my great victory. Message number 24, from the hands of my adversary. October 31, 1973. By means of my movement I will snatch many of my priest's sons from the hands of my adversary. Many of them are in darkness and in the greatest of desolation, because they have betrayed Jesus and the gospel. I will bring them to see my light and hear my voice, and they will once again become my dearest sons. I myself will bind up their wounds, I will heal them, and I will make them invulnerable to any future falls. I am a mother, and I want to save them because they are my children. Therefore, no one should feel lost, no one should despair. My Immaculate Heart is preparing this great return of my dearest sons. Message number 25, my faithful cohort. November 1st, 1973. Feast of All Saints. I want every priest of my movement and every priest who has consecrated himself to me to pray, suffer, and work in order to bring me back once again into the midst of my faithful. Today, more than ever, he who finds me will have found life and will receive salvation from the Lord. My adversary fears only this: he will make every effort to remove me even further from the hearts of my faithful, in order to keep me even more obscured in the Church. He is now engaging in his greatest battle against me, the decisive one, in which one of us two will be defeated forever. At the moment, from many indications, it seems as though my adversary is the victor, but the time of my greatest return and of my total victory is at hand. In the decisive battle, I want my priest sons to be with me. They will be led by me. They will be docile to my orders, obedient to my wishes, responsive to my requests. Since by their consecration they have allowed themselves to be possessed by me, I will manifest myself in them, and through them I will act to strike at the heart of my enemy and to crush his head with my heel. But these priests must now begin to act. Through them I want to return to the midst of my faithful, because it is with them, gathered about my priests, that I want to form my invincible cohort. Of the faithful who are supporters of my movement, I ask that they consecrate themselves in a special way to my Immaculate Heart, without being concerned for external or juridical bonds, but only for giving themselves completely to me, so that I may dispose freely of their whole being and arrange their whole life according to my plans. They must let themselves be led by me like little children. They must begin again to pray more, to love Jesus more, to adore him more in the mystery of the Eucharist, so that he becomes the sun which illuminates their whole life. What joy and what gift of love will Jesus in the Eucharist communicate to these faithful who are consecrated to me? Let them recite the Holy Rosary every day so as to hasten my great return, that they be faithful to the Pope and to the Church united with him, by total obedience to his commands, anticipating and seconding his desires, spreading his teachings, defending him from every attack, ready to fight even the shedding of their blood in order to remain united to him and faithful to the gospel. There will soon be a time when only those who are with the Pope will succeed in keeping the faith of my son and being preserved from the great apostasy that will be spread everywhere. That they must observe the commandments of God and carry out everything that my son has taught, so that they may be his true disciples. Thus they will be a good example to all. Let them be just that, especially by an austere manner of life, by repudiating styles which are ever increasingly provocative and indecent, by opposing in every way possible the spread of immoral literature and entertainment, and thus continual flooding from a sea of filth which is submerging everything. Let them be a good example to all by their purity, their sobriety, and their modesty. Let them flee all those places where the sacred characters of their persons is defiled. Let them form from the priest my faithful cohorts, my great white army. Through them my light will once again shine in the midst of the great darkness, and my immaculate whiteness in the midst of so much corruption of death. These faithful children of mine will be called by me and formed for this great task, to prepare this world for the great purification which awaits it, so that at last a new world may be born, completely renewed by the light and the love of my Son Jesus, who will reign over all. Message number 26. The demon fears and hates them. November 14, 1973. The serious accident that happened last night, O Son, should convince you that my adversary is now been unleashed upon you, and that he is trying in every way to do you harm. But I will always be with you, and he will not be able to touch even a hair of your head, or to graze you with even the slightest physical scratch. I am for you a mother, kind and jealous, vigilant and terrible against the evil one who wants to do you harm. I will send my angels to guard and protect you from every danger and from every snare which the evil one sets for you. Let all the priests of my movement know how much the devil dreads them and hates them, and how much they will have to suffer because of his plots. Now the evil one is beginning to suspect something, and he will rage about with an ever-increasing fury. But I will be with my priests to protect them and defend them. They will not be touched, not even a hair on their head, because they are my beloved sons, and I am now forming them and bringing them up. I am preparing them so that they will be strong and invincible at the hour of the decisive battle. I love them. I keep them in my heart, one by one. I protect them. I bless them. Message number 27. Only for my Son Jesus. November 27, 1973. Apparition of the Blessed Virgin Mary to Saint Catherine Labouré. I want all the priests of my movement to rely on me as little children. They must no longer think of themselves. I want to take care of them. I will grant all their requests and satisfy their deepest desires. They must no longer live for themselves, not even as regards their priestly activity, which absorbs them so much, tires them and consumes them, but leaves them empty and far from me. On the contrary, they must live only for my Son Jesus, carrying out the gospel to the letter. For this they must live only for me, with me. I alone will be able to form them to an ever greater unity of mind and of heart with my Son Jesus. I will have them act solely for him, as though led by the hand by me and under the sweet influence of my inspiration. They will then be still doing the same thing, but in how different a manner. And because of these same things, it will be done by them in union with me. I will manifest myself in them, and through them I will be able to carry out my great plan of salvation. But it is necessary for me that these priests become ever increasingly mine, in silence, in prayer, in humility, in equanimity. How beautiful it is when they speak of me, but it is even more pleasing to my heart when they live in me. I want to live again in them so as to become again as a mother in the midst of my children. Let them be docile, humble, and kind towards all, especially towards those who are furthest away, who are lost, who are despairing. I want to give them my heart. For this they must accustom themselves to live always in my motherly heart. Let them worry about nothing. For all the rest, I myself will provide so that my great and loving plan may be realized. Message number 28. The Spirit of Rebellion Against God. December 1st, 1973. First Saturday of the month. Begin this new liturgical year with much prayer. In my heart you will find the safe refuge from many troubles in life today. Troubles, anguish, and tribulations are bound to increase from day to day, because humanity, redeemed by my Son, is withdrawing ever more and more from God and transgressing His laws. The demon of lust is contaminated everything. My poor children, how sick and stricken you are! The spirit of rebellion against God has seduced humanity. Atheism has entered into so many souls and has completely extinguished the light of faith and love. This is the red dragon spoken of in the Bible. Read it, my sons, because the present times are those of its realization. How many of my children are already victims of this error of Satan? Even among my priests, how many there are who no longer believe, and yet they still remain in my church. True wolves in sheep's clothing, and they are bringing to ruin a countless number of souls. Nothing can now hold back the hand of God's justice, which will soon be roused against Satan and his followers as a result of the love, the prayer, and the suffering of the elect. Times of great, indescribable tribulation are in preparation. If men only knew, perhaps they would repent. But who has listened to my message? Who has understood the meaning of my tears, of my motherly requests? Almost no one, but a few unknown souls, thanks to whom the chastisement has again been put off. But this year will not end before a great sign has been accomplished. Pray, 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 O you souls chosen by me and prepared so maternally by me. Above all, you, my priests, forsake vain and superfluous things. These are times of emergency. You must live only with me, in me, for me. Be vigilant, be ready. Soon I will have need of you, because the time of my triumph has arrived. Message number 29. The Triumph of My Immaculate Heart. Dongo, December 1973. This morning, my son, you came with your mother to my shrine before the image of Our Lady of the Tears, which you have always loved and venerated from your earliest childhood, to celebrate Holy Mass on the 9th anniversary of your priestly ordination. This is a gift that I have wanted to make to you, you returning on this day with your mother before me, who have always looked upon you with eyes filled with special love, who have chosen you from your infancy and have always led you by the hand. Never have I abandoned you, even when my adversary attacked you and snatched you from me, and was then sure of having conquered once and for all. Because of this, you have had to suffer much. You have had to walk often in darkness and abandonment, mostly despairing that I had not heard your wails and your cries for help. But all of this was part of my great plan. You seem now to have some glimpse of it, and your heart is filled with joy. But that which is most beautiful, most important, my son, is yet to come. I have chosen you and prepared you for the triumph of my Immaculate Heart in the world, and these are the years when I will bring my plan to completion. It will be a cause of amazement even to the angels of God, a joy to the saints in heaven, a consolation and great comfort for all the just on earth. Mercy and salvation for a great number of my straying children, a severe and definitive condemnation of Satan and his many followers. In fact, at the very moment when Satan will be enthroned as Lord of the world and will think himself now the sure victor, I myself will snatch the prey from his hands. In a trice he will find himself empty-handed, and in the end the victory will be exclusively my son's and mine. This will be the triumph of my Immaculate Heart in the world. If all the priests of my movement only knew with what care they have been chosen and molded by me to prepare them for this great task. Every detail of their life, even the most insignificant, has a precise and profound meaning. Therefore, let each one become accustomed to read with me in this stupendous book of their own existence. I will give them the gift of wisdom of heart, and they will understand with me the reason for all that concerned them, the reason for much of their lack of understanding, the reason for their suffering, the reason for those times when they were abandoned, and even the reasons for their falls. Oh, how many moments of darkness and of agony they must have had to experience in their lives, these beloved sons of mine. But these have been for them necessary and fruitful moments, because I was thus able to make greater possession of them, because I would detach them from their way of seeing, from their way of feeling, from their easy attachment to things, to results, to goodness as such, to success, so that they would learn to be mine, to live only for me by carrying out my wishes. I have wanted them to have, as it were, the impression that they were good for nothing, to be considered of little value. I have given them the gift of great humility of heart, of childlikeness of spirit, so that they might feel themselves as mine alone, and thus lose their dependence and reliance on everything else but me alone. Yet it will be with these poor children of mine, mocked and trampled on, that I will realize my great plan. That is why each one must entrust himself totally to me at every moment. I will speak to them and tell them of my desires. Do not be afraid of the difficulties and the misunderstandings you will encounter along the way. I will always be with you, and you, in spite of everything, will always be joyous. To win the battle which is approaching, I want to give you a weapon: prayer. Forget everything else and form the habit of using nothing but this weapon. This critical time have come, and there is no longer any time for certain vain and superfluous things. There is no more time for useless discussion. There is no more time for chatter and projects. This is the time of prayer. Priests of my movement, offer yourselves to me so that myself in you and with you may always pray and intercede with my Son for the salvation of the world. I have in need of you and of your prayer to realize the great plan of the triumph of my Immaculate Heart. Message number 30. The Caress of a Mother. December 26, 1973. Feast of St. Stephen. How I love you, my son, and what love of predilection I have for you. You must accustom yourself to understand this in so many little things, in so many circumstances which are hardly noticed, such as today, the splendid bright day which I have given you, the blue of the clear skies, the luminous brightness of the snow caressed by the sun, the color of my heavenly mantle under which I ever protect you, the white of my most pure robe with which I wish to cover you. These simple things are like the caress of a mother for you. Entrust yourself more and more to me. Do you not see that now I alone am your life? Pray now for your brothers, for the priest of my movement. Today, whatever you ask for them, I will grant you. Pray, profit from this time of rest to enter more deeply into my heart. Transform every moment of your day into a colloquy with me. I want to hear your voice, my son. Turn everything into a prayer. Message number 31. My church will be renewed. December 28, 1973. Feast of the Holy Innocents. My son, you must be the comforter of my Immaculate Heart. For this you must live each moment outside of yourself, indifferent to all your personal problems. If you love me, if you are all mine, if you are my consoler, how can you still have problems of your own? How can you still want or desire anything? I have given you the dimensions of my heart, and what is mine must be yours. My desires must be your desires. My concerns and sufferings must be yours as well. Henceforth, you will be happy only if you remain always and at every moment in my Immaculate Heart. How many thorns afflict my heart, the soul which strays from my Son, even from among the faithful, become more numerous every day. Those who only yesterday were good and generous souls swept away by the general confusion become temerarious, insecure, and as though paralyzed. The most painful thorns are those caused me by the most loved and especially chosen of my children, the priests, along with those who, like Judas, daily betray my Son Jesus and his Church. How numerous are the wavering and doubting, the unfaithful. They celebrate Holy Mass, they administer the sacraments, and they no longer believe. Their sacrileges have now reached the limit which cannot any longer be exceeded without abusing the very justice of God. If these unfaithful sons of mine only knew the horrible trials which await them, oh, perhaps they would repent. On the contrary, they go, heedless to meet their great chastisement, and at the decisive moment they will be taken unprepared. And so you understand, O my son, why I am now so active among the faithful souls from among my priests. I will call them, and they will answer me. I will cover them with my immaculate mantle, and they will be invincible. Jesus will pour out among them the Spirit which filled my soul, and they will be transformed. I will give them, only as a mother can, my Son Jesus, and they will listen to him alone, and they will love him alone. They will faithfully announce him according to the gospel, and through them my Church will be entirely renewed. What must I do, you ask, to spread this movement of priests throughout the world? Remain solely in me at each moment in prayer. I will do everything myself, O my Son, because this is my hour. I ask you only to believe, to pray, to suffer, to let yourself be led by me, by the hand, and you will soon see my marvels. Even now you are able to learn many things from the year that is about to end. With me you will make no mistake in reading the true signs of the times, of these times which are so distressful and yet so blessed by me. Message number 32. They become intoxicated with emptiness. December 31st, 1973. Last night of the year. Begin this new year with me in prayer. At this moment, how many there are who are celebrating the arrival of the new year with amusements which are for the most part empty and offensive to the great dignity of creatures who are loved and redeemed by my Son. They become intoxicated with emptiness, these poor children of mine, and how unhappy they are. As for you, keep watch. Pray also for them. With the new year, the decisive moments draw near. Great events await you. And so begin the new year on your knees, praying with me, O my Son. With the coming year, my movement will develop beyond all expectations. Will this be enough for your little faith, so that you may come to believe more and to entrust yourself to me?